Welcome to Trustee Talk. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Dick Murgatroyd, and we have two guests today actually on Trustee Talk. First of all, Josh Gerth, our Vice President of Anderson Township Trustees, is back with us. We've missed you.
Oh, thanks.
We did.
Missed you too, Dick.
We always miss you. And also, brightening up our set considerably is Elizabeth Barber, who is a member of the Anderson's Township Safety Committee. And that's going to be the subject of what we're going to talk about today, because the levee is due to come up for a vote in November. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that and let you know kind of what's happening and how we're leading up to that. So I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Well, I am always happy to be back talking to you.
I'm always happy to have you.
This is obviously where the most information is disseminated to the township, is through Trustee Talk. And I know your favorite trustee, Andrew Pappas, couldn't be here, but I'm happy to fill in for him. So
that's not necessarily true.
But,
I like all of you.
Well, thank you. We like you too. And jokes aside, though, we do have a pretty important issue coming up in November. There's a lot of important issues coming up in November. As we know, it's a big election.
There are. Yeah.
But here in Anderson Township, we actually have a couple of things on the ballot. But today we're here to talk specifically about the public safety levy. So we have a group, a committee. Chairperson is Ann Zimmerman. I'm sure you know Ann.
I know Ann real well,
local
yes.
business person here, resident here, just a tremendous asset to our community. And so she's kind of leading the charge, if you will. But we also have some other great volunteers, and fortunately one of them, Elizabeth, is here today to kind of tell her story and kind of why she is involved in this in the first place.
Excellent.
As much as I'd love to tell people all the nuts and bolts and why we do this, and of course a lot of that can be found in our Anderson Insights magazine and on our website and all these other places, sometimes it's nice to hear from people who aren't in our position or from other sources. So I think that's why Elizabeth's here, and I'm thrilled that she was able to come.
Good. We're glad to have you.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so now tell us, how did you get involved in this?
Well, I honestly, I'm one of those people that doesn't really like to be told how to vote. I kind of prefer to be told why I should vote for something. And so public safety is obviously a really important issue for a community. There's so many great things happening in Anderson, and the last thing you would want would be for your public services to suffer. So when I found out that this committee was happening and this levy was coming up, I really just kind of had this vision for making a real value-added campaign where you're really giving people a lot of facts and information instead of saying, vote for this, we need your money. So we've really tried to do that. We have all the information's on the Keep Anderson Safe website. Our Facebook page is really good. We've done some really cool informational videos with the fire department that have been fun. So, it's just been a really good way to get out information.
Well, and I think that's an important, anytime you have especially a levy, I think the more people know and understand it, the better chances you have, rather than people running around with signs saying, vote for issue, whatever.
Yeah.
They have no idea what they're voting for or why they're voting for it. So.
Exactly.
But a lot's been said already, which I think has been great, because they've really laid the groundwork pretty well.
Yeah.
And the fact that the background on this is the fact that the township really stretched the last levy beyond its life.
We did.
And so this did not come up as soon as it could have otherwise. So tell us, I guess, what are you hearing? What are you finding out about as you're talking to people?
I think it's pretty positive. I feel like it's been 8 years since the voters have been approached, and that's a pretty good span of time. And the township can point to some really good ways that they've made cutbacks to make do with what they had. And that's always good before you go and ask for people's precious tax money. And I really respect the way that the township has done that. So I have not heard any complaints. People I've talked to are glad to vote. I think, when you hear statistics like our response time is 4.5 minutes, that just is excellent. I have a daughter that has some breathing issues, and to know that I'm going to call 911 and they're going to show up in 4.5 minutes, I want to make sure it stays that way. So that whole phrase of keep Anderson safe just really resonates to me.
Well, I think probably today also, I think more people are more aware of safety than they were at one
Yep.
time. I think a lot of times people take it for granted
Yes.
because it's always been there. But as you all found out,
Yeah.
you also got to pay for that, and that cost continues to rise. And so, and it's not really a huge addition. It's not a huge amount more money that you're asking.
Well, it's not insignificant. And I think that anytime you mention the word levy, it has a negative connotation to it
Yeah.
because it does come with a tax. And unfortunately, Anderson Township does not have any other revenue sources except for property tax. So, but we realize that, and we want to be careful on how we approach people, because I think there is a limit where people say, you know what, I don't want to pay anymore, I can't pay anymore. And when you get down to the basic services of what we, the township government, is supposed to provide, this is by and large the first and foremost priority. So this is at the top of every discussion that we have at the township, whether it's budgeting or whether it's dealing with the heroin crisis that we have or whatever. Safety is always near the top, and it happens to be our biggest expense. So it's not an insignificant amount of money, but as you mentioned earlier, we've tried to stretch it as long as we can by doing some smart things within the budget, whether it's refinancing our bonds, whether it's doing collaboration with like Newtown, which saved us a bunch of money for a fire station that we would have had to put a lot of money into. There's a number of examples we can cite where we have cut back as much as we can. And also on personnel, I should mention, while trying to maintain that same level of service that Elizabeth just talked about. But it does cost money. And at some point, because we've been stripped from our local government fund, because the estate tax is no longer an option for us, those were revenue sources that we simply don't have anymore. And while all this development's great and all these things happening will help, it's not enough to cover the expense, and so we have to go back to the voters.
No question about it. So what are you doing? How are you getting the word out?
Our signs are going out this week. You'll start to see people show up in T-shirts. The website is really important. We have a column coming out in the Forest Hills Journal. All the typical campaign ways. But we are trying to be a little bit more relatable this time. So things like this, like me being here, and Facebook we're using a lot to either field questions or engage the public and invite them to things. Really inviting them in instead of saying just show up on November 8th and vote.
Right.
Let's give you a reason to in a way that you can be a part of it too.
Are you doing door to door? Are you going door to door?
Yes. Yeah, that's coming up in the next few weeks.
Because that seems to work.
Yes, it does.
Probably one of the
It
most
does.
effective ways to get word to people and
I know.
and give them a chance to ask questions
Yes.
one-on-one. And so that sometimes is the best, because let's see, election's going to be here before you know it.
I
That's,
know.
you know.
October goes fast every
I
year.
know. It does, doesn't
It does. I don't know what it is about October.
Later, I just looked today and I said,
Yeah.
gee, we're in the first week and it's going to be over. And
Yeah.
I looked at it down and I said, not enough time to do everything. But it's and I think it's very positive. Seems positive out there, is it not? I mean,
I think it is, yeah. I mean, I don't know what you've seen, but I have seen a lot of positive comments about it. And I think one of the things that we've tried to do is be much more transparent in our budget situation at the township. So we obviously put all of that online, but if someone has a question or wants to sit down and see how we've gotten to this point, we will do that. Our staff will do that. I mean, again, Anderson Insights, the last edition back in July, kind of breaks down some of those statistics and some of the information, and I think they do it in a great way that kind of paints the picture of
Yeah,
how
they
we
did.
got here. And so that's great. But being transparent, I mean, people want to know that you're telling them the truth.
Well, yeah.
And the nice thing about government, especially local government, is there are no barriers to that information. I mean, you can literally come over here to the Anderson Center and set up a time to come in and look and see for yourself what is going on. And if you have questions or have concerns or have ideas, I mean, that's the other thing. We're not opposed to someone saying, hey, have you thought about this when it comes to safety, police, and any of that. So we're trying to be as open and communicative as possible, which is why having residents like Elizabeth actually involved is, I think, a positive thing.
Oh, it is a positive thing. It really is. The article in there really is a good article because it pretty much lays out a little bit of the history and how you got to how you got where you were and how you're now having to make the move to go forward. So that helps a lot. Have there been many group meetings or town meetings or whatever that?
We are planning one. It's coming up this month. I can't remember what date we settled on, but that will be out in the next few weeks. Yes.
So people will have a chance if they
Yeah.
want to come and ask questions and get information. They can do that. So
Yes.
which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many people are on the committee?
It's small. I think like five or
That's
six.
all right. That's good. That's enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Enough of an army to go out and make things happen.
Yeah, we are. We're Anne. I've just met Anne recently, and she is a force of nature.
Ann is anything
She's
that
amazing.
Ann Zimmerman takes
Yes.
on and what it does, you can be sure it will happen.
It's been awesome.
It's
I
no-
mean,
yeah,
to watch
no
her
question.
divide
Yeah.
everything up and get everything done efficiently and well. I mean, it's been
She
great.
is she's a pit bull when she wants to.
Yes, she is.
She really
I believe that. I haven't seen that yet.
I'll tell you what, like I said, she does a lot for this community. I
Yeah.
know her, because we were in her building, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
But people like that, she takes it very seriously, and she really, when she takes something on, she's sincere.
Yes, she
she
is.
wants to make it happen. So
Well, the other
Yeah.
thing, too, is that I think the committee itself and the people engaged, not the least of which are the union and some other folks involved in this,
Yeah.
their support shows that this is not a political matter. This is not a partisan matter. This is a community issue, and this is
Exactly.
Yeah.
this affects everybody. So it doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't see any boundaries in the terms of it's not
Yeah.
not targeting any one group. It affects everybody, and I think the committee and the people who are involved and the people who've shown support represent that, and it shows that this is an important topic that I think everybody wants to rally around.
Well, I think it is too, and like I said, I think a lot of people take for granted the services because they've always been there, but they don't stop to think about how they got there and what it costs to make them happen.
I don't think I realized that till this.
Well, but
I
see,
don't.
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think that's good because you bring a whole new dimension to it, which is good, I think, but I think, like I said, I think people feel better if they are comfortable and understand what it is they're doing instead of the usual ads that they run on these levees sometime where it's like vote yes or vote no for it,
Yeah,
and everybody's going, what is it?
Yeah.
there's a lot of numbers thrown around.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
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 Well, it's nice to have you here today, though. That's
Thanks.
great. I'm glad. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
It's good to be here.
That's a good thing about Anderson Township. I think there's a lot of people don't realize how many people volunteer their time and their talents to help out to make it a better place, and there's opportunities always for people to do so.
Yes.
I mean, you've got some great trustees, but there are three of them, and they're mighty as they are.
Yeah.
Having volunteers is a good thing to do, good thing to have.
Yeah.
If somebody has questions, they can just contact.
They can obviously contact either one of
Yeah.
us. I think the website is keepandersonsafe.com. As Elizabeth mentioned, there's a Facebook page out there, so for all those social media junkies, you can get information that way. But there's no shortage of ways to get information, or if you want to sign, or if you want to get involved personally, then reach out to either one of us or go to the website and there's a contact on there.
So you'll have yard signs.
Yes. Yeah, I actually got a response. We're having people email their addresses and putting them in the spreadsheet, and they're being delivered. And somebody sent a Facebook message back that said, I don't know how you did it, but the sign showed up in my yard 3 minutes after I asked for it. I don't know how we did it either.
There is
but-
efficiency.
We are the Jimmy Johns of signage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how that happened either, but I thought that was pretty neat.
Well, I mean, you look at you, they when you press them by golly, they,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
Well,
we press ourselves.
Well, it's you know, no question it's needed, and I think you guys are on the right track to make it happen. So,
Thanks.
you know, good for you.
Great.
Good for you. Talk a little bit about a couple other things.
Sure.
Some new economic development projects are kind of on the horizon.
The spigot is still wide open on economic development. It's it seems like every week we get to announce something new. The latest was the out parcel in front of Kroger. So Kroger's expansion, and part of that expansion is they're going to build 2 buildings at the corner of Beechmont and Wolfengle. And just last week it was announced that the Eagle restaurant, which is a very popular restaurant run by a group called the Thunderdome Group, is going to put one of their restaurants there,
great.
which
Awesome.
is
Yeah.
huge. I mean, I think that lends even more credibility to all this stuff that's going on, because the fact that over the Rhine seems to be the coolest place in the world
Yep.
that people want to be in, the fact that they're willing to take that concept and bring it out to the burbs really, I think, is a testament to what's going on out here.
Oh, I do too. Yeah.
And it's very exciting.
Well,
So
that's
yeah,
great news.
It
That
is great news.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So-
So when is that corner going to start showing some?
Well, it is starting to show some signs of movement. So
Some life.
it's taken a little longer than any of us would like. I mean, let's face it, we're all impatient when it comes to this kind of
Well,
stuff.
I
I mean, we'd
know.
love to see it done tomorrow. And there's more going on in that intersection and a quarter mile from Beechmont and 5 Mile than we could ever imagine.
Yes.
But they are starting the road, so off of Wolfengle, Bowen, which ran off of Wolfengle and connected to Kroger,
Mm-hmm.
that road is going to be one continuous road, and it will be called Town Center Way.
Oh,
So
okay.
Bowen's going away, the name's going away, but it will be one continuous road.
Okay.
That has started. That has to be done before they expand the actual store, which we hope will start beginning of next year. And we're hoping by this time, October of 2017, that Kroger will be well underway, if not closer to completion. Not only the expansion of the store, but the stuff on the corner, where the Eagle's going,
Yeah.
and everything that's happening at the town center. Most of all of that will be wrapped up by this time next year.
Good, good. That corner is going to be interesting anyway. I think that's just going to be a nice addition.
It will be. There'll be a nice streetscape. There'll be a plaza. There'll be elements of design that, let's face it, have been lacking on Beechmont Avenue. And the fact that what we're trying to do with the whole downtown Anderson concept is make it a more walkable place, which I know, and Elizabeth can probably laugh, because the idea that any of us would be walking down Beechmont, and you grew up here and I grew up here, Beechmont was not
No.
considered a very pedestrian-friendly place. And it's getting better every year. And what's going to happen on that corner, what ODOT's going to do going down Beechmont, taking out more curb cuts, putting in trees, putting in lights. No, the power lines, unfortunately, are still going to be there. But they will be somewhat hidden in this landscape and hardscape that's going to be done. And it is going to make it a much more inviting place for people to travel, work, and ultimately hang out and eat and
That's good.
Entertain.
That is big news. So that's really big news for that. That's
Yeah.
good. Good thing. How's the? I know lots of construction projects are. This summer's been just. I mean, everywhere you look, stuff is happening.
yeah.
Of course, the big one is the Beechmont 5 Mile. Is that on target? Is that?
It's on
kind of
target.
so
Yeah, the continuous flow intersection is moving along as it should. So we expect by the end of this year, actually, a lot of that work to be completed. And they'll do kind of the finishing touches in the spring of 17. I think we're all anxious to
Yeah, we are.
see this thing come to completion. And so, as I've told many people, if you hate it, I had nothing to do with it. And if you love it, then you're welcome.
You were behind it.
That's right.
Well, I tell you, I got to give them credit. They've done a pretty good job because man, they had a lot of work to do there, and they did a pretty good job of keeping traffic a little bit, back up.
It has its
but,
moments.
It does, but for the most part, I mean, they've done a pretty good job because of all the moving around they've had to do and all the,
Yeah.
especially on 5 Mile.
Right.
I mean, that was a much bigger than I thought it was going to be, what they're doing. So, and it'll be nice because that road will finally quit not be a washboard to drive on.
That is one of the busiest intersections in the county, one of the worst traffic accident intersections in the county.
Yeah.
This is supposedly going to fix both of those things, so time will tell.
It'll be. I mean, now I think that everybody's curious how it's going to work when it's done.
Yeah,
Now,
as we are.
Yeah. Do you use that area a lot?
Well, right now I avoid it.
Well, of course.
Yeah, but yeah, it's right. I live right near there, so I needed to go through that to get almost anywhere.
Yeah,
So,
because our office is on 5 Mile, so
Yeah.
if we're on if we're on Beachmont at all, we have to use it
Yeah.
one way or another.
Oh, yeah.
But it's been it hasn't been too bad.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I know you're very much involved in the heroin project. Is there anything new happening as far as any progress? I mean, I know it's an unwieldy problem that's,
It is.
you know, I mean, there's no quick fix.
Yeah.
But, you know,
It continues to be an issue. We've administered, I think, 16 doses of Narcan in the last 30 or 60 days,
Is that right?
just here in Anderson Township. So we have a problem like anyone else. We had the sheriff actually held a forum a couple of months, well, actually back in June. And out of that forum, probably a dozen residents or so approached me afterwards and said, you know, okay, what can we do? And that's what a lot of people ask with this problem is what can we do? We've started a local citizens group. We met once. We're going to talk more about what this group is going to look like. And what we will likely do is partner with our neighbors in Claremont County, Mount Washington, Newtown. If you're familiar with Chief Sinan down in Newtown, he is the picture of strength when it comes to advocating for change and fighting this epidemic. And it really is an epidemic.
it is.
And so we're lucky that he's our neighbor. And so we see what we do here in Anderson is really partnering with those communities. And so whether we form our own group or just become part of a larger group, that remains to be seen. I am working on the elected official level with Much in Common, which is a regional group of elected officials, and we are scheduled to meet again on November 1st, I believe, at St. E's in Northern Kentucky,
Oh, yeah?
to
Okay.
talk more about our group and what we can do from a policy standpoint, how we can drive more money and resources to our region. So, you know, if anyone's familiar with what Rob Portman recently passed, the CARA Act that he passed, and we want to do that, obviously, and bring more attention like that to our area. Because the fact of the matter is that this area, Northern Kentucky, Claremont County especially, and Indiana, there's an unusual amount of activity with this drug, and we got to do something about it.
How large is that regional group? Does it include Indiana and? I know
It does.
It includes
It does.
Northern Kentucky.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It's 100. There's 183 political jurisdictions in the tri-state,
Wow.
and so we're trying to get representatives from. I mean, we'd love it from all of them, but we have a very good group. We probably have 40 people that represent areas from all 3 states.
Is there anything? I mean, from the federal level, is there anything coming down to the states that's being distributed among smaller entities in the state?
Well, for instance, I mentioned Portman's bill. That will generate about $37 million for just the state of Ohio, which is really not a lot of money, but it is something. It's money specifically targeted for this particular issue. We need more of that. And I really plan to make more of an effort to urge our governor to get involved in this. Because again, I mentioned earlier how we were kind of stripped of our local government funding. And the governor, you know, has used that money to build a war chest, but that money needs to come back to our communities to fight this, and which is why, again, this safety levy is very important because of issues like this. We have to have the resources.
Absolutely. I mean, it's such a huge issue. Are you feeling progress? I mean, you're feeling like you're making some
That's a good question.
headway?
I don't know. I don't know, because for every time we think we're doing something right, then you hear about somebody in the news who's overdosed again,
Yep.
and it's It's going to take some time. Someone mentioned, actually, Dr. Fagans, who's the chief doctor out here at Mercy Anderson East.
Oh, yeah.
He is very involved, and Mercy's very involved in this issue. And he had a great quote. He said, "It's the AIDS of our generation."
Yeah, it is.
And it really is. And
Yeah.
so it's going to take a lot of collaboration to fix this.
Well, because a lot of it, I think, is that a lot of people don't want it fixed. I mean, the ones that are on it don't seem to, and they're the ones that have to kind of help make it go away.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's, from what I understand, it's so addictive that you lose yourself.
Yeah.
And so they probably do want to be off of it, but they can't. They literally cannot wean themselves off.
And it's expensive.
Yeah.
Recovery is expensive.
It is.
It
yeah.
is.
Oh,
Addiction
yeah.
recovery. It's a big monster to try to take on.
Well, it is. I mean, but you want to hope that somewhere along the way, we find a way to be able to help get those people. And it is going to take money. I mean, it's going to take resources, and most communities don't have those kind of resources.
Which is why it's great that people like Elizabeth, who normally may not get involved in something like this levee campaign, but who understand, whether it's through their own personal stories and history, or whether just being a part of the community, understand why it's important that we drive it at every level, not just local stuff, but helping push this throughout.
Well,
our
I think you
community.
almost have to. It has to become a regional thing, only just because of resources and that.
Yep.
We got a couple minutes left. Anything else special coming up? Anything November, December that?
We've got a bunch of activities. If you go to the Insights magazine or our website, you'll see a calendar of events, and we've got a lot of stuff that tend to head into the holidays. Actually, and I think we've got an open house at one of our fire stations on October 8th, which I think is next Saturday. So that's kind of a family day. People can come and bring their families up to the station and really kind of get an interactive experience, which should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah.
Fire trucks.
Those are always fun. Huh?
Yeah.
See the fire trucks.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's always excited about
Yeah,
fire trucks.
yeah.
Anything else I'm missing? Can you think of anything else?
Of events? The Jack-o'-lantern walk.
Oh, yes.
Yes, you can't forget the Jack-o'-lantern
Now,
walk.
when is that?
The end of October.
Somewhere around Halloween,
I want to
probably.
say it's the 29th.
It is.
I might be Drew's birthday.
I think it's at the bottom.
It's Saturday, October 29th.
There
Okay,
you go.
there you
Hey,
go.
all right. Look at that.
It's my son's birthday.
Oh, look
That's
at
a
that.
big event, though, over here. That's a
Yeah,
lot
it
of
is.
fun.
That's right here.
Well, I thank you all for being here. Good to see you again,
You too.
really, and nice to meet you. And,
You too.
and thank you for doing what you're doing. That's what government's all about,
Thanks.
getting involved in a positive way.
Thanks.
There's a lot of people get involved in a negative way, but
No.
the positive way is the good part. Well, we thank you very much. Thanks for being with us. Nice to meet you. I know I'll see you again somewhere down the road.
At some point.
And we thank you for joining us. We hope that you have enjoyed this as much as we have, and also for sharing your day with us, and that the rest of your day will go as well as you possibly want it to be. I'm Dick Murgatroyd, and on behalf of our great director and producer and cameraman and audio man and jack of all trades, Shane Reinhardt, we invite you to join us for our next edition of the Trustee Talk, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if he is somewhere in the vicinity, Andrew Pappas will be our guest. We always are not sure. We're never too sure. But anyway, thanks for being with us. We'll see you again on the next Trustee Talk here on ACTV.